Your son made me pregnant. Excuse me. Pay $30,000 as alimony. That's what I heard in the voice of a young woman when I answered the restaurant's phone. She was suddenly completely biased in the conversation and didn't even mention her name. I was really underestimating it. The call must be a prank. I therefore didn't anticipate that this call would result in such a disaster. Melissa Brown is my name. I own a well-known restaurant in New York City, which may sound self-flattering. We have appeared in magazines and on national television. As a result, practically every lunch and dinner seat is reserved each day. But being well-known led to an increase in obnoxious calls and pushy business pitches. I assumed this call was just another practical joke, so I became quite careless. However, I was truly surprised when I was informed over the phone to my restaurant that she became pregnant. And her words were so difficult for me to understand. Although I do have a son, the idea of him being pregnant? It sounded ridiculous. But I was intrigued by this hoax call and its startling charges. For amusement, I chose to spend some time listening to her narrative. I had an abortion. How are you going to treat my physical and spiritual wounds? Additionally, cover the cost of the operation. First off, if I may ask who I am speaking to, one of the difficulties facing the service sector is needing to reply respectfully, even while handling hoax calls. A recording of our talk that was inflated and disseminated with incorrect facts would be an annoyance. I frequent your restaurant as a patron. After your son injured me, is that the first thing you need to say to me? Both compassion and common sense are lacking in your family. I find it difficult to accept that my son would act in such a manner. My counter and kitchen staff look at me, sensing that this isn't your typical call for a dinner reservation. To reassure them that everything was okay and to make them feel protected, I waved and smiled. Your son assaulted me on a dark street. Of course, you were able to identify him in the dark. Are you certain, though, that it was my son? Don't act foolish. I have no doubt that it was your kid, who resides with you. Since then, I've been so terrified that I can't even go out by myself. What will you do in response to this? She began to describe the assault's circumstances. Well, I believe you may be confusing my son with someone else. However, this appears to be a major issue. Can we have a face-to-face meeting to talk about it? These kinds of prank calls are typically made by people who are afraid to meet in person. Therefore, offering to meet with them is a smart strategy to persuade them to change their mind. I was initially just taking her call for fun, but because it seemed to be going on forever, I suggested that we have a meeting to cut the conversation short. You saying, meet with the criminal's parent. How dare you suggest that kind of thing to a victim? But I'd like to verify your story in person. Are you saying I'm lying? That's not what I mean. To be honest, I wanted to say you're lying, aren't you? But I held back. Then she started berating me and saying, I can't believe a person like you is a business owner. Why don't we meet and talk about this anyway? No matter how many times I suggested it, she continually refused to meet. I see. So what do you want me to do? Pay me alimony. $30,000. But it's a case of mistaken identity anyways. And also, I can't afford such a large amount of money. You can pay. I know your business is thriving. Pay it or I'll sue you. Even though my business is thriving, it's just a small place. And $30,000 is a large amount of money. And I don't even intend to pay. Are you sure you want to involve the police? I don't mind. At my unhesitant response, the woman fell silent for a moment. If my son truly did such a thing, I should hold him accountable as a parent. But I don't think he did. You're pretty confident he didn't do it, huh? Maybe you should have some doubts about your own son. I would believe it if there was evidence. Do you have any evidence? I'd be troubled if you asked me for money without any proof. There was silence on the other end of the phone as the woman seemed to be contemplating something. If there's no proof, I'm hanging up, I said that and tried to end the call. Then hold on. If there's evidence, you'll pay the alimony, right? Well, I would consider it. Then wait. I'll bring the evidence. With that, she hung up the phone almost as soon as she had finished speaking. Owner, are you all right? There's no problem. It's just a prank call. One of my employees, Mr. Murphy, voiced his concern. So I reassured him like that. There's no way she has any proof. So I don't expect she'll call back again. But I had an uneasy feeling that she might barge in and cause a scene at the restaurant. In the evening, while preparing for dinner, I had completely forgotten about the phone call. Mr. Murphy ran up to me, holding a manila envelope in his hand, with his face as pale as a ghost. What's the matter? It's not like you to run in the restaurant. Owner, this came. What he handed me was a letter. Ms. Melissa Brown. I was assaulted and impregnated by your son. Please transfer $30,000 as alimony. Written below were the bank transfer details, and the recipient's name was Karen Williams. Mr. Murphy was pale and disturbed because he was the first to see the contents of the unsealed and unsigned letter. Calm down. But you know my son, right? Hearing this, he seemed relieved. There was something else in the envelope. I pulled it out, and it was a pregnancy test. What's that? This commotion attracted the other employees. All of them seemed taken aback. Could it really be the owner's son? Some employees gave me a contemptuous look, but they were quickly convinced when I explained. I put away the things that had been sent on my desk and returned to my usual work. A few days passed without transferring any money, but during this time, there was an unsettling incident. Owner, this came again. Mr. Murphy came with the manila envelope in his hand, looking fed up. I see. Check the contents and put it away in the usual place. Recently, these harassing letters had been dropped in the restaurant's mailbox many times a day. Are you planning to run? Pay up. The owner is a parent of a criminal. Her son got a college girl pregnant and didn't even apologize. The owner of this restaurant is a heartless and cruel woman with no sincerity. Irresponsible, overprotective, toxic parent. It's your fault your son became like that. Take responsibility. I'll make sure no customers come to this restaurant. It's for the good of the world. For the good of the people. I wondered what would make customers stop coming to a restaurant. Like those restaurants where they put that greasy black and disgusting thing in the food. I wouldn't go there again, that's for sure. The content escalated progressively, and the last part was practically a threat. Thankfully, no claims had been made that anything was actually in our food, but the constant anxiety that we might be set up was exhausting. Amid all this, something caught my attention. Well, again, a vacant seat increased at lunch. The number of customers was just gradually, decreasing. Yes, it's unusual. Today, we even had 2 tables empty. My thoughts went out to the poor ingredients waiting to be prepared in the kitchen. Owner. I looked up at Mr. Murphy's call to see him heading my way with his laptop. Look at this review site. On the laptop screen, the latest reviews were filled with harsh, slanderous comments. Bad customer service. They don't listen to the customers, especially the owner, who seems to be getting full of herself after appearing on TV and in magazines. The food is getting worse. The soup taste was way more plain than the last time I visited. I saw an employee drop a piece of meat before grilling and sneak it back. Every single day, poor reviews were posted, causing our star rating to plummet. I realized that I was shaking with anger. It's unacceptable. Why should this restaurant, which we've worked so hard to build with the intention of pleasing our customers, be wounded by such baseless accusations? Are the preparations progressing? An unfamiliarly low and cold voice involuntarily slipped from my mouth. Yes, they're almost completed. Upon hearing Mr. Murphy's response, I couldn't help but smirk. It's been a week since we discovered the slanderous comments on the review site. Since then, the number of customers has continued to dwindle. When I stepped out into the dining area, Mr. Anderson, a regular, was sitting at the counter next to a young woman. Mr. Anderson, thank you as always. It's tough for you lately, Melissa. When I greeted him, Mr. Anderson offered me words of consolation. Well, this job is my lifeline, I smiled and replied. Mr. Anderson shook his head sympathetically. You're strong, especially considering your son's predicament. But don't lose hope. I'm on your side, Melissa. We'll support your son as he atones for his actions. What? I was taken aback and couldn't understand what he was talking about. Well, I noticed this place is quieter than usual, so I was wondering what happened. Then this young lady here kindly showed me a web page about this restaurant. With that, he gestured toward the pretty woman in her early 20s sitting next to him. I really feel for you. I love this place, so I thought I'd come here more often to help out in any way I can. Come to think of it, I recalled seeing this girl in the restaurant quite frequently recently. Excuse me, but what's written here is a misunderstanding. The regulars here were wondering why the place has been so empty recently, so I explained it to them. What? I doubted my own ears, trying to make sense of what she was saying. I mean, isn't it sad not to know the truth? Besides, I thought the owner would be happy to know that people like me and Mr. Anderson still come to this place. You've been spreading online rumors, which we're not even sure of, to our patrons? I unintentionally raised my voice, forgetting all about formality. Wow, it's scary. The internet says the owner is a terrible person, and I thought it wasn't true, but it seems you really are like the parent of a man who assaulted women. I suggest that you should apologize if you think you did something wrong. She twisted away from me. Her movements were as if she expected me to punch her, even though I had not raised a hand. Miss, that's not a nice way to talk. Louise is probably tired from all the things happening. Mr. Anderson defended me, but that wasn't the point. I was about to explain that the fundamental issue was different, then suddenly, her bag fell from the back of her chair. It must have moved while she was twisting and turning. Despite my simmering rage toward her, my service industry instinct kicked in, and I moved to pick up her bag. But then I saw it. Karen Williams. The name written on the student ID card that had fallen out stopped me in my tracks. No worries, I'll pick it up myself. She hurriedly got off her chair to pick up her bag and ID, but I got there first. Hey, give it back. But it wasn't a mistake. That name was the one on that letter, with a pregnancy test, which wouldn't even serve as evidence of anything. So, it was you. I've been looking for you, Karen Williams. I must have swapped it with a friend's by mistake. I'm not Karen. Your face and the one on the ID are the same. Interesting. So you're a student at Central College? No. I'm telling you, you're mistaken. Beside her, who had started being flustered, Mr. Anderson was clearly puzzled and had no idea what was going on. I'm going to sue you. My words, spoken in front of a few scattered patrons, caused everyone in the bar to turn around. What did I do? I believe you are the one who knows really well what you did. Since we're all here, why don't we let everyone hear? I looked around the bar. It was mostly filled with regulars. While it's nice to have regulars, it meant that almost no new customers were coming in. I couldn't help but feel furious about this young woman disrupting our business. Let me start. Are you the one who called, claiming my son assaulted you and impregnated you, demanding alimony? I glared at her, pressing her for an answer. Yes, that's me. I'm the one your son assaulted. Seeing that there was no way to deny it anymore, she admitted it surprisingly readily. What? You want to embarrass me in front of all these people? This could backfire, considering the reputation of your bar. She crossed her arms defiantly and completely brazen. Her attitude only served to fuel my anger further. Mr. Murphy, bring everything over. I instructed him to hurry up and bring me a laptop from the store's office, along with a stack of envelopes and documents that could be about 4 inches high. Was it you who kept sending harassing letters to the store over and over again? I read some of the letters in a loud voice so that other customers in the store could hear. Pay up or run. This owner is a criminal's parent. Her son impregnates a college girl and doesn't even apologize. Poor souls being forced to eat food from this woman's restaurant. I'm sure I'm going to make customers not come to the store. It's for the greater good. Some were covering their mouths at the harsh words among the regulars who heard the content. This is completely threatening. There's no evidence that I sent this letter. Maybe some outsider who heard the rumors sent it just for fun. As she was desperately making excuses, I silently opened my laptop and presented her with the screen of another review site. Some of you here may have seen this, the defamation on this review site. You did this too, right? I'm saying, where is the evidence? Are you all right in the head? Evidence, evidence. You seem to love evidence so much even though the one you presented is such a mess. I showed the first received letter and the pregnancy test to Mr. Anderson, who was nearby. This is the pregnancy test she brought as evidence. What do you think? Isn't this red line just a marker? Even my old eyes can see that. The customers who were listening started to buzz, but this might not prove that I was assaulted. It doesn't prove that I'm wrong either. No matter what happens, she is insisting and shouting angrily that she is the victim. I was assaulted by your son. He said it himself. It's disrespectful to doubt that. Customers were whispering in hushed tones and seemed unsure whom to believe. Since I, the victim, am saying it, it must be absolutely true. She started to cry as if to attract sympathy. Well, I'll prove it then. My son, he's 3 years old. Chet, upon hearing this decisive fact, let out a small what, as if deflated. My son may be a bit rambunctious and strong for a 3-year-old, but there's no way he could assault you. No way. I know you have a big son. You live together, right? I even have a picture. I heard you talking about dinner. Saying that, she pulled out her smartphone and showed a picture of what looked like a young man talking to me at the back door of the store. Oh, isn't that Taylor? See, you do have 2 sons. Perhaps regaining confidence from correctly naming the person in the photo, her tone increased. That's not correct. I immediately denied what she said. Then who is this person? Don't tell me he's your lover, having an affair with a younger guy, and then that guy impregnates a college girl. What a scandal. Not only is your store done for, but your marriage too. To her triumphant words, I revealed something. This person, this is my niece. Your niece? Yes, and actually it's a girl. I explained that my niece is tomboyish and is often mistaken for a boy even as an adult. She's a college student and, as she boards at my place, I ask her to cook dinner and pick up my son as a form of rent payment. If you need evidence, want me to bring her in person for you to check? I told this to her, who stood there shocked and seemingly unable to hear me. By the way, I've already gathered all the evidence about the harassment letter and the posts on the review site. Evidence? No way. She seemed like she might collapse any second and turn to face me weakly. I've already consulted with the police and my attorney. I explained step by step the preparations I'd made with the help of Mr. Murphy, one of my employees. The first piece of evidence was a letter from her with fingerprints that matched those on the harassment letter. All posts on the review site were confirmed to be from the same person after a disclosure request. With no way out, she sunk to the floor as she drained. You were just saying that it's better to apologize quickly if you've done something wrong, weren't you? She mumbled something while looking pale and looking down, but I couldn't make out whether it was an apology. I will contact the police about you. I'll inform your parents and your college as well. Be prepared for a lawsuit for emotional distress damages. No, please don't do that. I'm still a student. Please spare me. You may be a student, but you're an adult over 18 years old. You will take responsibility for your actions. I can't handle that. Please stop. Subsequently, I filed a criminal complaint against Karen Williams for defamation and business obstruction, as well as for damages to the shop. Apparently, she had always been a big spender, buying brand bags and clothes on credit, and ended up committing these crimes after she was unable to make her payments. As a result, she was expelled from her college. This incident even made the news, and I've heard that now she is the one who has been receiving harassment after her personal information was exposed. Through my lawyer, all the slanderous posts on the review site were deleted. The uproar unexpectedly turned into a positive result as it cleared up the misunderstandings among my regular customers. Now, the number of customers has returned to normal. While the incident did deter new customers, there were almost no regulars who left. Even despite all the lies that Karen had been spreading, there's no doubt that it was pleasing to know her claims weren't taken at face value. Moving forward, I aim to continue running the restaurant to meet the trust of my customers.